Welcome to our channel NKC Insight. Every year on July 27th celebrates National Scotch Day. This day celebrates the Scotch whisky, which is often referred to as classic and distinctive spirit. Scotch was introduced on 15th century. The origin and the history of the National Scotch Day are not known. Scotch whisky is an aged malt whisky or grain whisky that is made from malted barley in Scotland. Scotch whisky is divided into categories like single malt Scotch whisky, single grain Scotch whisky, blended malt Scotch whisky, blended grain Scotch whisky, and blended Scotch whisky. The spirit will be depending on the ABV of less than 94.8%. Taste and characteristics of Scotch differ with each region of Scotland from where it is produced. Scotch whisky is exported from the UK to all over Europe markets, the Far East, North and South America. In 1644, the first taxes were introduced on Scotch, which led to an increase in illicit whisky distilling across Scotland. In 1823, the Excise Act was passed, which sanctioned the distilling of whisky in return for a license fee of £10, and a set payment per gallon of proof spirit. In 1920, prohibition was introduced in the United States. Whisky was exempt, as long as it was prescribed by a doctor for medicinal purposes. Scotch Whisky Regulations Act, updated in Scotland Parliament in 2009. The law set important things for whisky making in the world. Scotch whisky should contain in bottle, and it must be a minimum of 40% ABV alcohol by volume. According to the Scotch Whisky Association (SWA) reports, Scotch whisky accounted for 20% of all UK food and drink. Exports about 14% in 2017, with 122 million bottles exported from Scotland's distilleries. The number one Scotch consuming country in the world, by value, is the USA, importing $922 million of the stuff in 2017. The first place importer of Scotch whisky is France, importing a close second is France, importing 178,070 centiliters bottles in 2017. Most Scotch whiskies are aged in American bourbon barrels. Bourbon is not aged as long as Scotch, so there's still a lot of character left in the charred oak barrels that are shipped to Scotland for reuse. Scotch whisky contains 55 calories as opposed to the average 80 calories per shot. Cask-aged malt whisky, and a newly distilled whisky help to protect against coronary heart disease. A research from State University of New York, SUNY, found that consuming Scotch halved their chances of having a stroke in old age. Scotch reduces the risk of developing cancer. Also, Scotch could just play a unique role in preventing cancer, too. The minimum proof alcohol contains in Scotches is around 40%. Compare that to wine, which typically hovers around 12 to 13%. Scotch whisky has a very good reputation worldwide for its taste and quality, still Scotch, leading to possible alcohol poisoning. Thanks for watching this video. Follow us in Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter by clicking the below link mentioned in the description of our channel. Also subscribe our channel for more videos.